I was watching a little bit of the Powell coverage. First of all, I knew him a little bit. I sat next to him on a plane, first class one time. We had a pretty interesting conversation. He wasn't a big fan of mine, but he was civil. That was before the Iraq War. And I subsequently was on a charitable, not a board, but an organization called Best Friends Foundation in Washington, D.C. that helps inner city kids. And he was part of that. And so I got to see him in a few events there. I never had anything against Colin Powell. I know some people didn't like his political posture. He hated Donald Trump. Hey, it's his right as an American. I don't know beef with that. You don't like Donald Trump, you don't like Donald Trump. You don't like Joe Biden, you don't like Joe Biden. It's up to you. But I was always a little disappointed in General Powell because he did not explain what the deuce happened in the weapons of mass destruction Saddam Hussein situation. So from my point of view as a journalist, I trusted Colin Powell, who was then Secretary of State under George W. Bush, when he told me with certainty that Saddam had weapons of mass destruction. I believe that. You remember that whole thing in front of the United Nations. So then my analysis was skewed that way. So you got this insane dictator, he could hand this off to anybody he wanted, and he wouldn't let UN inspectors in, so we got to take him out, which we did. But then the Iraq War descended into chaos, and thousands of American military were killed or maimed. And that's how the Independence Fund, I made up for it a little bit by raising $30 million for the independencefund.org that helps the severely injured from Iraq and Afghanistan. But it's still stuck in my mind. You know, why didn't you explain it once you were out of government, General Powell? Explain it. Never did. Now, the reason he didn't is because he respected the chain of command, President Bush, Defense Secretary Cheney, and all of that. But when you're out and it's in the past and it's history, you can't explain. So anyway, I knew this was going to happen on MSNBC, which is just vile. And you all know it. I mean, there's no debate about it. So they used Powell's death to bash Trump.
Well, if you imagine you're a lifelong soldier, you fought in Vietnam, you commanded, you had other people's lives in your hands, you commanded Panama, you commanded the first Gulf War, you were standing on duty as the Berlin Wall comes down. Nuclear Armageddon had been an ambient force, the possibility of it, your entire military career. The rule of law mattered. Civilian control of the military mattered. The oath you swore was to the Constitution, not to a particular president or a particular person or a particular party. And then you're sitting there in McLean, in retirement, and you're watching everything you fought for be assaulted, led by a lying, defeated American president who's seeking to be a dictator.
So Meacham is using Powell's death to viciously attack the 45th president. Doesn't get any lower than that. It doesn't. That's it.